I would see my body, like the big body of a morbidly obese woman. But in that body, I also seen a fit body. And I would just look at her and I'm like, who are you? Like, I want to get to know you.
Wow.
So I started walking towards her every single day.
And you saw that in your mind's eye.
I did.
Yeah.
I seen a vision, and it was kind of like a just like something super quick. But it's almost like I wanted it again and again. It was almost like a dopamine.
Let me see that again.
Yeah,
Right.
like I want to come back and I want to see who she is. And I wouldn't listen to music. I wouldn't,
You were just quiet and getting the download and hearing your higher self. Welcome to Soul Inspired Living. I'm Wendy. I'll be your host today on What's Your Story. I have a very special guest. She is a transformation coach and speaker whose life is a powerful testament of inner healing and resilience from losing over 250 pounds and rises from deep adversity. She now empowers women to rediscover their worth, embrace self-love, and step into an aligned, purposeful, driven life. Please welcome my friend, Claudia Valencia.
Wow, that was beautiful. Thank you so much.
You bet. Thank you for being here.
First of all, thank you. But when I hear people talk about like that with me, like in regards to me, it's almost like, who are they talking about?
It's almost surreal, right?
Correct. It's almost like, wow, that whoever she's talking about is like, I want to meet her. So thank you for that beautiful introduction. It really inspires me to be the woman that I am. I'm just excited to be here and to share a little bit about my life and how I can share a little bit of my tips and gifts with people out there that might need or that might resonate with my, my story. So, yeah.
Excellent. What part of your story do you feel most called to share today?
Wow. Well, I could tell you about May 2nd, 2016. I got off my couch.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I got off my couch. I was 430 pounds. I worked for the state of Nevada for 20 years, and I had 2 little kids. And I came home, made dinner. My day went like a normal day. But that day, Wendy, I told the father of my kids, I said, I need to go to the park. Because someone kept calling me all day. I went about my day, did my chores, did everything that I had to do. And instead of sitting down in my couch after dinner to watch novelas, because that's what I did. I used to watch, soap operas. My couch had a dent from my weight being so heavy. And I had a certain place that I sat. When you come into my house, you see the dent. And so that day I was like, I don't want to sit. And so I said, I'll be right back. I went to get in my car and I drove to Sunset Park. Something called me to go to Sunset Park and I just started walking. Wow. I cried out. And so I just looked up and I said, I don't know where you're at. I don't know if you exist. I don't even know what I'm doing right now, but I need help. Right. And I need you to show me and prove to me that you do exist and that I can change my life. And I was hurting. I weighed 430 pounds. My stomach would hang.
Your back would hurt.
Everything that you could think of. It was hot. It was May 2nd.
Wow.
So as a morbidly obese woman, your body is in double heat. My body is hotter than your typical person because I have so much mass around my body, right? And my tummy would hang, so it looked like I had a tumor in my stomach, Jeez. And I just walked. I used to walk like a penguin. When pregnant women towards the end of their pregnancy, they walk like penguins? Okay, that's how I walked.
Right.
Every day of my life. So I just started walking and I said, and I'm going to show up tomorrow. And I don't care if someone needs you. I need you, and you're going to show up, and I'll be here tomorrow. And I did that, and I did that for a whole entire year.
Wow. That almost gives me like goosebumps, just that you were called to just get off the couch and take action and go walk.
Yeah.
Just out of the blue that day.
It just, something was calling me to go there. I didn't know what it was. And, you know, I could tell you, Wendy, that I didn't go and change my diet. I didn't go and buy a scale to weigh my food. I didn't know how to count calories. When you're morbidly obese, you don't know anything about nutrition. You know,
You're just doing your daily thing, day in and day out, eating bonbons, sitting on the couch.
No activity.
Just doing no activity.
Yeah.
Wow.
I think I consumed maybe 1,200 calories just in breakfast. You know, and I mean, it took a lot of work to have 430 pounds on my body. I couldn't sit here and tell you, well, I really didn't eat, because that's a lie.
Right.
I didn't go and buy new tennies. I didn't go and change my refrigerator. I didn't go get a new outfit. I was just called, go take a walk.
Yeah.
And in that walk was my healing. My healing journey started. You know, it wasn't that I lost, 250 pounds. I started healing 250 pounds.
Right. So it's all about just answering that call.
Yeah.
When you feel it inside, something inside you said, you know, and I'm tired of this, and I'm just going to get up and walk and see what happens.
I had no plan. All I knew was go take a walk.
Wow.
And in my walks, I discovered a conversation with my higher self. You know, in the shadows, when the sun would hit a certain time, I would see my body, like the big body of a morbidly obese woman. But in that body, I also seen a fit body. And I would just look at her and I'm like, who are you? Like, I want to get to know you.
Wow.
So I started walking towards her every single day.
And you saw that in your mind's eye.
I did.
Yeah.
I seen a vision, and it was kind of like like something super quick, but it's almost like I wanted it again and again. It was almost like a dopamine.
Let me see that again.
Yeah.
Right.
Like I want to come back and I want to see who she is. And I wouldn't listen to music. I wouldn't, you
were just quiet and getting the download and hearing your higher self.
Decoding and putting new codes in my body, putting new codes in my mind, having conversations with my inner self, having that awareness of the steps that I would take, listening to my breath. I would cry sometimes because I would start getting all these downloads of why are you eating so much,
Right. And why, and that's exactly why we should put the phone down and have that quiet time with ourselves so that we can actually hear ourselves.
That's right. I could tell you that prior to May 2nd, 2016, I never had conversations with myself. I was too busy pleasing everyone. I was too busy taking care of everyone except myself, So as I continued to show up every day, I started getting to know myself, like the things that I liked, and just hearing myself, and then tapping into a child, tapping into the young teenager, tapping into the young adult,
right?
Tapping into the parts where I became a mother, and just did like a memory. I was like on memory lane, literally like a memory lane of how can I heal parts of myself?
How did I get here, and how can I heal?
Yeah. And how, exactly. What triggered me to overeat? Who was I hiding from? Who was I protecting?
Right.
And in those walks, I always knew in the back of my head, but because my life was so busy and I was always living in chaos.
And pushing it down.
Yeah.
And just
Music, alcohol, cannabis, wasting time watching TV, so disconnected from myself. But I purposely did that because that's what I needed. So when I started tapping into myself, I, rediscovered, because I didn't discover, I rediscovered the motive of, you know, that morbidly obese woman that needed protection, and that was, you know, coming to accept and starting to heal that little raped girl. You know, by the time I was 10 years old, I was raped, I was abused, and I was molested by 5 family members. And
5.
Not 1, not 2.
5. Wow.
5 times. And I just felt like I needed to protect myself. So I ran to food because it was my comfort. It was what was going to protect me.
And put the layers on, right? So that makes sense. Adding layers of protection, and geez, that's just crazy. And overcoming that trauma.
Yeah. All by myself.
All by yourself.
You know, I could tell you that when I got to that part of my journey, I had a hard time. I didn't know how to talk about it. When you're a little girl and, you know, these monsters, you know,
are touching you.
They're touching you, you know, your boundaries are completely gone. Right? The first thing they say is you can't tell no one. Like it's a secret. You know, so you're going to get in trouble. And no 8-year-old little girl wants to get in trouble. You know, we want to play with our Barbies, we want to go play hopscotch and, you know,
and have fun with our friends and play outside.
Yeah. And I never told my parents. I never told a single soul.
Because you believed what they said.
Yeah, absolutely. And then lived in the shame. The first person that I actually spoke up about was my best friend. And we were about 14 years old, and I couldn't sleep because I would have a lot of nightmares. Constant nightmares. I used to have like bags around my eyes. My grades were always like D's and F's because I just fall asleep. I never would be able to tell my mom, like, Ma, I can't sleep because I feel like someone's going to come and, you know, or maybe just my trauma, right? So when I actually spoke up with, you know, about my trauma with my best friend, and this is why I do the things that I do now, because the first time that I spoke up, you know, her response was, me too.
Wow.
That happened to me too. And that's when I realized that I wasn't the only one. And that it actually is a thing that happens in our families, because as little girls, it's not the stranger that, you know, rapes us.
It most certainly is not.
It's always a family member. And after that,
thank God you had that conversation with her, and then you didn't feel so alone anymore, and you realized, wow, you know,
how can I help?
Exactly.
Instead of at that moment, like, how can I help myself? It was more like, how can I help you? You know, and it became more of a calling. And in those walks was like, well, I know that you're not the only one, so talk about it and talk about it and don't be ashamed. And it's okay. It's not your fault. It wasn't your fault. And so I started doing a lot of mirror work. You know, at 430 pounds when you're naked, it's not the prettiest
thing to look in the mirror.
It's really hard.
And say, you know, I love you, even though I look like this.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And it was something that I was just called to, you know, to do. Like, look at yourself in the mirror and forgive yourself. It's okay that your tummy is big. It's okay that, you know, you have one breast bigger than the other. It's okay that you have stretch marks. It's okay that, you know, you can't see your private because my tummy would hang, right? So it was also a manifestation of me covering my private because that's where everything started.
Right.
So as I started doing a lot of mirror work, I would start doing affirmations.
And you were just self-guided to all of this.
Just
no one taught you any of that.
You know, I want to say that it was like a higher version of myself. I just didn't know it at that time.
You were just divinely guided through your higher self.
Yeah.
Just listening, being quiet and listening.
I believe a lot in my guides, in my spirit guides, my ancestors. That's something that I truly am passionate about because we're never alone. And I feel like it was those women that stood before me that they also went through it and they never spoke. So I felt like they were coming through me and say, not this, not no more, you're gonna break it. I completely gave my whole life to heal them, heal the women
all
that
generations before you and after you. That's the whole generational healing.
And not only women, you know why? Because men go through it too.
Absolutely.
You know, men in our older generations, they go through it a lot. I'm sure that my past history, people that were, you know, connected to me at some point, they also probably went through some type of abuse, you know, some type of sexual, you know, encounter that they didn't want to do.
Right.
And so I said, I'm not going to do that no more. And all I was just, honestly, I was just guided.
Right.
You know, and I continue to be guided every single day to just speak up. And I come across a lot of women. When I see them with their big tummy, I already know what's wrong.
Yeah.
And most of the time, that's exactly what it is.
And you have conversations with some of them, and
out of 5 women that I speak to, 3 will say me too.
Wow.
And that's a big number.
Yeah, that's a big number. And so I'm so glad that you've come here today to speak out and let this be known, so that, you know, we can stop this in future generations, you know, and tell the kids that it's okay, the young girls or the young boys too. It's okay to tell your mom and dad, or to tell a teacher, or tell somebody that, you know, I've been touched inappropriately, and so that stops, because you're not going to be in trouble.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I share my life journey with my kids. I have a 16-year-old daughter and a 14-year-old son, and I don't hide anything from them. Yeah. They're very aware of my journey.
And they've watched this.
They've seen, you know, so I have a big commitment, not only for myself, but for my kids, you know, so I also know that I have amazing kids because I am their reflection, and they are a reflection of me.
Absolutely.
You know, I've been single for 5 years, and you know, I haven't came across to date, because right now I love dating myself. You know, I love just being me, and I know that, you know, the universe is going to line some amazing man. I know that right now my mission is to be here and be present and support any women that need it, guide them to remember, guide them to heal, because our bodies are not supposed to hurt.
Right.
We're not supposed to hurt.
Come back to their self-worth and their self-love. A lot of women have an issue with even just looking in the mirror and telling themselves, I love you, and we shouldn't have that issue. Yeah.
You know, something that I do a lot every single day, I'm very disciplined. My life has completely changed. I wake up every day. I do my little 5-minute meditation. You know, I give thanks to, you know, my higher self. I give thanks to everything that is around me, God, the angels. I have a big Buddha outside of my house. I believe in God. I believe in my higher self. I believe in angels. I believe in animals. I believe in everything, because that's who I am. Yeah. But I wake up every day. I go to the gym. I work out, because I embrace this part of me. I honor my body, because at some point that 430-pound woman, I'm going to be very honest with you. There was a time where I couldn't even like go to the restroom and clean myself correctly. Yeah. That was really hard.
And you don't want to go back to that.
Absolutely not. Yeah. You know, I had psoriasis. You know what psoriasis is? It's in your
red
body.
Patches.
There's a lot of people that have it that it's almost like it's embarrassing, right? Because it looks pretty bad. Yeah. I had psoriasis all over my body. I had it in my hair, so it looked like I had like my scalp,
like dandruff.
So it would start like, you know, I would get fun of. I would get made fun of at school, and they would say like it was snowing on me. Oh, it was horrible. It was all over my body, right? And so on my tummy where it would hang, it would smell, and then I had the open wounds. So
underneath,
I was always hurting. Like that version of myself, it was constantly hurting, and I didn't know. what the root cause was it. And I would, go to the dermatologist, and she would give me creams and give me lotions and give me ointments. And
that just masked everything.
yeah, she would just put a little Band-Aid,
Yeah.
and I would tell him, like, why do I have this, and she would say, well, and I would tell him, like, is it because I'm fat, right? It's because I'm fat. And she's like, no, it has nothing to do with it, because there's women that come into, and they sit right where you're at, and they're 130 pounds. They live a very normal life. They have a good diet. It has nothing to do with your weight. And I would tell him, like, okay, so then what is it? She never would tell me, and I would always sit there and I would look at all her, like, certificates on the wall. And I would think, I'm like, how is it that this woman that is so educated can't tell me why do I have psoriasis? What is this? Because it would hurt.
Right.
I started developing it more here. As I got bigger and bigger,
Wow.
I started developing it right here.
All in the fold areas. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I had it here. I had it right here. I had it here. It just looked really bad, right? So I just said, you know what? I'm going to take life into my health into my own hands.
That's right.
And I healed it. I don't have no psoriasis in my body.
We're our own best doctor at times. We just have to listen to ourselves, because your body was screaming out.
Yeah, it was a manifestation of my rapes. That's how I developed it.
Yeah.
I just didn't know about it.
Exactly.
But the more that you do the work, the more that you listen, the more that you pay attention to yourself, you start healing, because we can heal. Our bodies are so, they're so fragile.
Yeah. And they're resilient as well. They can heal themselves. We just have to listen.
Yeah.
And when we have any type of pain or rash or anything going on our body, it's our body screaming out for some reason. And it's not always physical. It could be the spiritual side.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
So it's just being aware of, we're not just physical beings. We're emotional, spiritual, mental, and we have to look at all aspects.
Absolutely.
And figure it out for ourselves, because, we can't depend on someone else to tell us what's wrong with us. We're our best healer.
That's right. I could tell you that everything that you just said is something that I live very, very deep to my heart, because I know that I rarely get sick. I will tell you that sometimes I do get a little bit of allergies, but that's all that gunk that's out there in the the air.
Right.
But as far as
we live in a valley, so
yeah. But as far as like me getting ill or hurting or something happened to me,
that's amazing, because I don't know, maybe it's just a stereotype to think, when someone's big or overweight, that maybe their gut health isn't very good or something. And having healed yourself, that means, you've healed on the inside as well.
Yes.
And that our immune system is in our gut.
Yeah. Well, our a lot of our emotions are also in our gut. Everything, our sacred chakra is very, very, we talk a lot about, our chakras, right?
Our energy centers.
Yeah, our energy centers. But I truly believe that our chakra, our main
sacral,
only because we are portals, and that holds a lot of energy. Like, whether you're a parent or not, we have life right here.
Yeah. Our first scar was our belly button. And we as women are portals to bring life into this world.
Yeah. And so when that gets violated, a lot of things start, there's no balance. So
they get out of alignment.
Yeah. So just, a lot of people might not, believe in certain things, and that's okay. We believe, to each his own. We have free will. But at the end of the day, there's no, and I'm not trying to be stereotype or whatever, or, disrespect anybody, but there is no better doctor than yourself.
That's right. So did you ever think, well, I think I need to go to therapy, or I need to, do something psychologically to overcome this trauma?
I did. I actually, when I worked for the state of Nevada, we had like the best insurance. So one of the girls was like, maybe you need therapy. And I said, what's that? And she said, here, I'll give you some information. So she helped me. And so I booked my first, appointment. with a psychologist. And, you know, I did 2 sessions. The first one was more like an introduction, how are you doing, stuff. And then the second one was where we kind of started. But, you know, as I'm talking to her, she's constantly looking at the time. You know, she's so disconnected. And, you know, I'm looking at all her certificates from, like, she's from Maryland, pretty petite, you know, Caucasian lady, very young. And as I'm sharing to her a little bit about me, before I even got to my rapes, you know, getting to the root cause, because she knew what she was doing. She's very smart, obviously. She has those, you know, she did the work, right? But when she said, I understand, I said, what do you understand?
Right.
I said, explain to me that sentence, because that's very powerful for you to say that you understand. What do you understand?
Right.
You keep saying I understand, but keep in mind at that time I was mad. I was in a very dark energy. I was always mad. I was in victim mentality. I was not who I am right now. You know.
Right.
So I said, you know what?
How could you possibly understand?
I said, first of all, I said, I'm 400 pounds. I'm Mexican. I come from a lower poverty. You know, I work, you know, I barely make ends meet. I was raped. And I gave her all of this. I just gave it to her. And she said, well, but that's what I study for. And I said, but you've never lived through it. So how could you say you understand?
Right.
And we just didn't match. So I said, you know, this session is over. And I grabbed my purse and I walked away. I never did anything again. And that's when I went to the park. That's when it was already calling me, like, you gotta do something, you know? So I started just taking care of myself, honestly, just having, I said, well, she gave me some pointers, so I'm gonna kind of run with that, you know? So that's what I did. I started taking care of my mind, watching my thoughts, you know, those walks, that was my therapy, honestly.
Yeah. Yeah. And did you ever confront those that violated you?
I did. You know, I hired a life coach, a very nice life coach. He was
a man.
He was a man. He was an African American man that was in the military. So he just ripped me and he destroyed me.
Oh, but he was a drill sergeant.
Oh, yes, he was. And let me tell you, he drilled me. And he said, if we're going to do work, you're going to do it my way. But I promise you, when you're done with this, you will be a completely different woman. And that's an effect. His work worked because I put the work in it. And so it was right around COVID. So we would meet on Zoom. And so it came to 1 week where he said, all right, are you ready? And I was like, ready for what? I'm like, I'm done everything that you say.
Yeah.
And he said, I want you to call one of your rapers. And I was like, yeah, I can't do that. And then he said, well, if you don't do it, I'll give you back. I know it was like he was messing with me. He's like, I'll give you back your money and we're going to close this session out. I'm not going to work with you. I'm not going to waste my energy with you. And I was like, wait, no, you can't just leave me halfway.
Yeah.
And he said, well,
you got to face it.
Yeah. So I kept kind of like, just no. And he's like, all right, you know what? We're done. I'm going to go ahead and close this Zoom out. You're going to go ahead and reach out to me via text once you've made that phone call. You have 1 week. And that whole week, I was like, oh, man, this is crazy. I'm not going to do it. And so one day I was like, I got to just do it. So I went out to my garage. At that time, I used to smoke a lot of cannabis.
Yeah.
And so I got really, really high. And I said, all right, let me do this. And I called and I was like, hey. I said, how's it going? And he's like, hey. And mind you, my cousin, we would spend Thanksgiving together. No one would ever know that this man raped me.
Oh, my gosh.
It was family. It was my
family,
cousin, right? And so I was like, hey, I said, I want to talk to you about something. He's like, hey, prima, he's a cousin. He's like, I know that you're losing weight. He's like, I see your videos. You're kicking ass. I'm so proud of you. And I'm rooting for you. And I'm like, oh, thanks. I appreciate you. I said, yeah, I've been doing a lot of work. I said, and that's why I'm calling. I said, I want to talk to you about something. And he said, yeah, what's up? And I said, I want to talk to you about that night. And it was like crickets. And I for a minute, I thought he hung up the phone. And I said, are you there? He said, yeah. And I said, okay, so I want to talk to you about something. I said, I said, I just want to be very honest. I said, but before I start, I said, I want you to know that I worked really hard to make this phone call. And I'm doing it from a place of love because it's not from hate. It's not from nothing. I said, it's strictly from a place of love because I found love within myself. I said, but I want to talk to you about that day that you took over me. You came into me. I said, I want to give you back the pain that I had, everything that you did. I said, and I was very detailed, short, to the point.
How powerful, and I said, just to give it back to him.
And I said, and I want to give this back to you. And I said, and maybe this conversation, you don't understand it, and that's okay. But I want you to hear that I no longer need this. I am giving this pain back to you. And what you do with it, it's none of my business. It's none of my concern. I'm not going to go and tell my family. I'm not going to open that window and tell, hey, you did this, or, this person did this. None of that. I said, I just want to make sure that you are aware that I no longer need this pain. And a couple of months later, it was maybe a month and a half. It was right around COVID. I got a phone call that he overdosed. And
wow.
He killed himself.
Wow.
And, and it's really tough to talk crazy. About it around with my family because they don't understand. And that's okay because I'm not one to explain.
It's not for them to understand.
Family is really mean. Family is sometimes very critical and they don't understand, right? And so my coach said, next. And I was like, yeah, no, I'm not going to do that again. And he's like, yeah. He's like, you're going to call the
next guy.
And I said, yeah, I can do that. So I smoked another bowl and I went outside and I called, but this time he did not answer for XY reason.
Yeah. So
I said, well, I know you check your messenger, your Facebook, so I'm just going to leave you a nice little message. And I did reach out to my coach and I was like, hey, this is what's happening. And so he said, just send him a quick, simple message. And then make sure that you say, I am giving this pain back to you, so that he reads it and it goes into his mind.
It's the same thing you said to the other.
Yeah. So I did that. I think it was within a day or two. He had a accident, suicide, car accident.
Wow.
And that took a lot.
Both of them.
Yeah.
Both of them are gone after you give the pain back to them. Wow.
That's what I was holding on to. They couldn't hold it. They couldn't. There was no way that they could hold it.
And that's why also when you are releasing that and you're shedding everything.
I started shedding physically,
Yeah.
Wendy, I could tell you that my weight just started coming off. Like it was like whoosh, it was like boom, boom, boom. Everything just started coming off and off and off and off, right? And then he said, are you ready to talk to your parents? And I was like, yeah, that's not going to happen.
Oh, gosh.
I said, this is officially over. I'm closing this.
Yeah.
I said, I think I'm healed.
I'm good.
Yeah. He said, no. He's like, it's time for you to talk. And you know what? I could tell you the most crazy thing. And I have pictures. I started having these things in my mouth, like inside. It looked like I had herpes.
Oh, little blisters?
Like big. Like I had open wounds inside my mouth. Right here. I have photos of everything, of all my journey. And it was because I was finally going to release to...
Oh, you were going to spit it out. You had to speak it out.
Yeah.
And wow, your body was releasing in that way too.
Yeah. To the only two people that should have protected me as a little girl.
Oh my gosh.
And so it just happened. It aligned. I asked for help and I said, I need help. And
when the right time presented itself,
I went to their house and I said, I want to talk to you guys. I said, and it's not your guys' fault. And I just released and I was mad and I was furious and I was pissed off and I just went full throttle. I didn't care that it was my dad. I didn't care that it was my mom. And my dad's like convulsing. He's like in the floor. He's like, what are you talking about? And my mom's just,
And
God
were
bless
the other guys already passed?
The other two, yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the other two were the older man. He passed away a while ago, and then actually no, the first guy that ever touched me, that raped me, he's still alive.
Oh, okay.
He's in Mexico.
Oh, okay.
But I know he's having a hard time. But when I finally started talking to my parents, my mom is, God bless her heart, she's just like this hardcore Mexican little Catholic lady, right? And so I'm telling them this stuff, and so I'm done, right? And I kept pointing at myself that I had this bruise right here. And so I said, aren't you going to say something? And she just, she was sitting down, and she said, she looked at me very, very stern, very proud. She said, it's your fault for not speaking up. I grabbed my keys and I left. I didn't see her for about a year, because that's what I needed.
Yeah.
And after that, my parents separated, and there was a lot of shifts that happened in my family because I was able to release. I was able to come and speak my truth and not hold onto all of that, victim mentality and rapes and, all of the things that I encountered as a young child.
A lot of families hold on to that, or they keep that taboo. It's so taboo that we can't say anything.
Yeah. Yes. I said, I don't want to live like this no more. And even with the father of my kids, I started purging everything. Everything just started coming out. And I said, and you too, you're next, because
you're out of here.
Yeah, you have 30 days to move out. And I just, I was very sincere. I said, I need time. I don't know what's happening. He went through the whole process with me.
Wow.
And I said, I just need time. I don't know what's happening. But what was happening was that I was elevating. I was transitioning into a different timeline of my life. Yeah. And when I met him, I was at a very low frequency, very low timeline.
Yeah.
So we trauma bonded in some way, So everything was fine until I started healing parts of it. It's almost like that saying, I don't know if it's right, but you can't heal in the home that broke you or something like that. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, you can't heal in the place where you were hurt.
Yeah. So he wasn't supportive. He would always tell me, he's like, oh, I like you fat like that. I like you big. And I'm like, yeah, well, I don't. And so he just wasn't supportive. Great guy, an amazing man, but not for me, not for who I am, who I was becoming at that time. And I felt like, he was holding me back. Kind of like I had like a download when I was in my patio, and I had this download of like this, you are the yacht. You are this exquisite top tier yacht, like a multi-million yacht, state of the art, everything. You have chefs, you have a maid, you have, your kids are taken care of. You're in this yacht. But guess what? You have an anchor and you cannot sail this sucker.
With that anchor. Yeah. Isn't it amazing when we start elevating the people that we shed?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I had to release my whole entire family, as far as like the family that I had, which was him and my two kids. I said, and I gotta let it go. And it took a while because mentally I disconnected until I had to do it physically. Physically, I said, okay, that's it. I need to heal. I don't know what's happening. I let go of that, and I've been everywhere that you could think of in my mind, in my world. I'm very confident in myself. I consider myself such a amazing, woman. I think highly of myself. I will not settle for less.
That is so amazing. And I watch you every day on social doing these crazy exercises and lifting these heavy tires and doing this combat fighting. I don't know what it's called, but I see you doing this every day. And I think it's 5 a.m. in the morning.
Every day, Monday through Friday.
I'm like, I am not out of bed at 5 a.m. in the morning. You are out of bed every day doing exercise, doing what's good for you.
Yes. For a long time, I thought that success was having lots of money in the bank and having all these awesome assets and, brands and, a nice car and all of this stuff. And I said, no, you are that. You don't need none of
You
that.
already are.
Yeah. And so I started living more in my purpose. And you know what? I could tell you that I wake up every single day with so much gratitude in my heart. You know, I have healthy kids. I have a healthy life. I don't have a lot of friends. I have a lot of acquaintances. My circle is very small, but I could tell you that I'm not around people that don't match my energy. I can't sit here and tell you that I have drama with certain friends or anything because
Absolutely
that's not who
not.
I am.
Yep. And you don't sit around and talk.
Nope.
Talk
You know, if we're gonna talk, we're gonna talk about like
something
the
positive
the 5D and how
right.
we elevate and how all of these things that we are going through, we're transitioning.
And
you know,
consciousness, the
yes,
collective consciousness.
yes,
Right.
the shift in timelines and as above, so below.
Oh, yes.
You know,
And I am you and you are me.
That's right. And I am a reflection of you, and what you see in me is who you truly are. We are mirrors.
That's right.
Everybody that I come across is a reflection of me. Therefore, I'm not around mediocre. I'm not around people that gossip. I'm not around people that, and the
Or
crazy,
the lower energy.
exactly. The crazy thing is that I don't even have friends right now that smoke cannabis.
Yeah.
You
Amazing.
know, you know, even drinking, like maybe once in a while my dad will invite me like a glass of wine or something, and I choose to have a little glass of wine. But even that, like, I don't drink, I don't smoke.
Right.
I love being by myself. I like to listen to frequency music. I like to listen to sounds. I like being by myself. I love having conversations about, you know, it's really hard to have certain conversations with friends that know exactly how
That
to
are
talk.
still in the 3D, that aren't
Yeah.
all the way in the consciousness or understand that.
Yeah, understand.
Understand.
Because it's all we understood for a long time, right? But now we're in a timeline of understanding because we understand that
From
the more that we,
within.
yeah, everything is within. You heal within. You start being more Christ conscious. You know, it's
I
all
love
about your
that.
conscious. You know, tapping into that third eye. Sometimes, you know, you don't need to see with your eyes to be able to see.
Right. It's your mind's eye.
Yeah.
Right. Or however you want to put it, your third eye, your pineal gland.
Yeah.
You know, I heard something recently. I think I was listening to a video recently about decalcifying the pineal gland and all these things out there that we're given in this world to keep us dumbed down.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
And when we go about decalcifying that, what we can actually do for ourselves. So in a sense, it sounds like maybe you were doing that unconsciously. And then, you know, slowly you were reprogramming.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. You know, my coach introduced me to Joe Dispenza.
Oh, okay.
And let me tell you, I know that I manifest one day to be in his workshops, and you know, he's an amazing man. You know, once you start really, you come across a lot of things. Carl Jung, just so
Hay
many
House,
things.
everybody in
yeah.
Hay House.
Yeah, Dolores Cannon, like the things that they say, you're like, I know this. You know, and how do you have conversations with people that don't know? So you gravitate towards people that do know, and those conversations are amazing.
Yeah.
You know, like I get excited when I have conversations with, you know, there's this friend, his name is Dave, and he calls himself David Dragon because we talk a lot about dragons.
The dragons, yeah.
And we just go in, and it's almost like
Dolores Cannon talked about dragons, right? Yeah.
And so when we start having conversations, he'll be like, wow, Claudia, he's Colombian.
Yeah.
And he's like, wow, Claudia, you know, and I'm just like, does that make sense?
And he's like,
And
yeah,
it does.
I get it.
I'm like, okay, I'm not crazy, you know? But it's almost like, I don't want to say that no more. Like, does that make sense? Because I know it makes sense.
Yeah,
you
right,
know?
right. I always struggled with that too. And I thought, well, you know, how do you have these conversations with someone? I think, you know, we just plant a little seed, or we just, you know, say something like about quantum leap, or, you know, one little word like that, and see if they move on it. Yeah, if they grab it. If they don't, then they don't.
You know, I used to do a lot of when I started getting really, really into spirituality, oneness, self. I used to do a lot of quantum jumping, quantum leaping.
Wow.
And what I got really, really into, there was a point in my journey where that's all I wanted to do, which was astral travel.
Oh yeah.
It's something like, not everyone understands it, and that's okay, right? But there is a lot of people that do understand what astral traveling is. And once you know how to astral travel, you can go anywhere.
Absolutely. And do you do that consciously, or do you do it when you're asleep?
Either or. Either or. Before, I used to do it when I was asleep, but I would put guided.
Right.
I would guide myself. Right. I would have someone, like some of my friends would send me, some links of astral traveling. I did astral traveling where, quick story, as a baby, I used to cry a lot. Yeah. I used to hear my mom tell stories about how I was such a cry baby, right? And it just always stayed in my head, like, why was I such a cry baby, know? So I astral traveled, I went back. And so one day I was like, Ma, I got to tell you something. And she's like, what is it? And I said, just don't talk. Just listen to me. And then all you have to do is I'm going to ask you yes or no. And you're just going to give me a yes or no. Okay. And she's like, okay. And I said, okay, here it comes. And I told her, I said, okay. I said, let's go back to 1977. I said, what were you doing in 1977? I said, just paint it to me. I said, let's go back. So I took her back to 1977. She was pregnant from me. She had a 2.5-year-old little girl living in California and Los Angeles. New mom, new country. She knew some English because she used to work at the immigration office. And my dad was out and about, so she would cry a lot. And so I felt her pain. I said, you would cry a lot because of your marital issues. I said, but then something happened where you got really excited in my pregnancy. I said, what was it? And she said, the doctor said you were a boy. And I said, I said, so I was a boy and you were excited? And she said, yeah. I said, and then after that, I said, you kept crying. And she said, yeah. And I said, after that, you still kept crying. I said, and then I was born. I said, and I felt that disconnection because you seen that I was a girl and I wasn't that boy that you
were hoping for. Yeah.
And I said, and that's why I would cry as a baby. I said, because that's all you fed me. That's all you taught me. You didn't teach me nothing else besides cry, 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 cry. I said, and so that was a manifestation of me crying. I said, does that make sense? And she said, what did you talk to one of your aunts? And I said, just yes or no. That's when I knew that I could astral travel. Yeah. And I was so excited. I was like, yes, I did it.
And so tell me this, how do you feel like you quantum jumped from that old person that you were into the new person that you are now?
Oh,
and jump timelines.
Yeah. You know what? I have. I know that because, and this is where sometimes it gets a little like, oh, you're being, mean or I don't have the same friends. I don't live in the same world that I lived when I was morbidly obese and victim mentality and it's your fault. It's your fault. It's your fault. It's everybody's fault except mine. I never took accountability for my own shit.
Yeah.
And so I did feel that timeline. Like you physically see it. And it's really hard to explain, but you know exactly what I'm talking about because you don't have the same friends. You might live in the same home, but you don't have the same, even your route is different.
Right.
Your resemblance is different. I could tell you that I'll be 48 years young in July, and this is my hair. I don't have gray hairs. I have one.
Oh, and one in there somewhere.
It's somewhere in there, but you know what I do? I look at it and I always admire it. I say, oh, you're so pretty, but I'm not ready for you right now. And you got to go, and I yank it out. This is all me.
That's
and this
great.
is, and and I feel like I'm in my early 30s I don't feel like I'm 48. I'll be 48. I don't feel that.
Right. It's young at heart.
I feel so alive. I feel in full gratitude. Like, why wouldn't I? I've done the work.
You've done the work.
I've done the work, and I'm proud of the work that I've done. Whether people think it's taboo or not, you know. There was a time where I did a lot of crystals, and, you know, I don't do any of that because it's just me.
Yeah.
You know, there comes a point where all you have to do is just, it's you.
Is just tune into yourself.
Yeah.
What a wonderful story.
Yeah, thank you.
Back to self.
You know, you have to learn how to heal. And I will tell you this. If you don't know how to, if you're stuck, if you have more questions than answers, if you feel like there's a lot of things that are happening and you don't know, you know, why is this happening to me? Why are my emotions like this? Why some days I wake up happy, some days I wake up like a train ran over me? Because there's a lot of shifts happening. You know, the Schumann resonance is going fast. So that means that we're also going fast. So.
Yeah, and our body's going through it whether we actually feel it and consciously feel it or not.
Yeah. So finding someone that's going to guide you. That's why I don't consider myself a coach. I consider myself someone that is going to guide you back to remember who you are. Because a lot of the times people want to heal and they want to, you know, take care and they want to heal this part of yourself. But this version of you, there was nothing wrong with you. It was the other version of you. So you can't heal this because there's nothing wrong with you.
Right.
And even as a young child, there was nothing wrong with me. It's what happened.
Right. And you are not what happened to you.
No. And we have all the tools, you know, and if you don't know how to, you get guides, kind of like when you want to learn how to do ballet, right? And you want to be a ballerina, it's not going to happen with one session.
Right. Sometimes we need a little guidance, but I think it's best said to go within, get quiet, and listen to self. It's always back to self.
Yes, absolutely.
And I think it's about time that we have to wrap this up.
All
and
right.
I appreciate you being here and sharing your story. And I really hope that, you know, all of this said can help someone else speak up today. If this is happening to you and you see this, that you can get help or speak up and tell somebody.
Yeah.
You know, if anything happens to you like that. And also, whatever is going on, if you've been diagnosed with anything physically or you're trying to overcome, you know, obesity or anything like that, that just it's time to look within and
heal.
Yeah.
Because you can do it.
Yeah.
It's possible.
Yeah.
You just got to put the work in it. That's it.
Yeah. Don't rely on listening to other people.
Yeah.
Rely on yourself.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Of course. Thank you. I want to say thank you because every time that I talk about it, I heal parts of myself. And that's why it's important when, you know, people hear these stories, know that it's maybe it'll hit you. Something might resonate, something not. Take what resonates, takes what don't. But at the end of the day, as people, as humans, as I call myself a little star seed.
Yeah.
I know that I heal a lot of parts of myself, you know, and that's the beauty of sharing and, you know, be open with your life story.
And perhaps that's why we're here.
Yes, absolutely.
We're here to go through some experience and have this earthly human experience as a soul.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
I like that.
Also, before we wrap things up here, Claudia, would you like to tell everybody where they can find you if they're looking for any type of transformation assistance?
Absolutely. Thank you. So, yeah, you could reach me at Claudia Valencia-Puga. That is on Instagram, Facebook, or TikTok. I mostly use my Instagram, so you could reach me there. You could also hashtag ITA Gets Fit. That's ITA Gets Fit. So yeah, it's Claudia Valencia-Puga, and I look forward to assisting you and guiding you back to yourself.
And that concludes this episode. So if this conversation spoke to you, I challenge you to reflect on your own story, where you've been, what you've been through, and perhaps look at what's coming next. And if that is scary or overwhelming, or you just not sure of what is the next step, then that's okay. And just know that one conversation can help give you clarity. And if you feel called, I have a clarity session that I will link below in the description box. And who knows, you might be next on What's Your Story. Yes. If you loved this episode, please like and subscribe, as it helps me out on this side, and share with someone who you think might need to hear it. As always, peace, love, and until next time, be well.